This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Anytime is a good time to break a bad habit. Could be making improvements to your routine at home. Maybe it's your job performance. Could be physical health, financial health. The time to make a positive change for your future right now. But Scott, only 33% of Americans have a written financial plan. So a lot of people winging it when it comes to spending. And how could we break the bad habit of living without a budget, Scott?
How to break a bad habit. It'd be like telling me not to have cake and ice cream, and I love cake and ice cream. You know, breaking that habit is, you have to first come to a point, do I want to break a bad habit? And that's where it comes in the area of money. When you start to see your money dwindling down, maybe it's time to put the brakes on and then say, okay, I need help. Maybe you get some help. A lot of people don't think they need help. They think they got it in control, but sometimes the wives or the husbands know better. And so again, knowing there's a problem is the start. Like Alcohol Anonymous, knowing there's a problem, we can start from there. Then of course, the next area is once you understand there's a problem, okay, a budget. And that I call that the cuss word. So you got 6 letters in the word budget. And as you think about the word budget, are you spending too much? It'll catch you. And when I tell our clients before they retire, I love to meet people before they retire, either they're new to us or maybe they're heading into retirement. What I like to do is give them a budget sheet. And if they get a budget sheet, I ask them almost like the best place to put it on the refrigerator so they can see it. Alex, my mom and dad, I have to use this example as a habit, a good habit or a bad habit. They did have a budget on the sheet. I think it was for us, my sister and I. But the most important thing is my dad did the bills. My dad ended up telling my mom, literally saying to my mom, I remember when I was younger, Joan, you're going to write the bills out. You're going to see what we're spending. Because when dad does it all the time, she didn't know what was going out. So mom would go out and buy things and just spend money, well, haphazardly. And I think the challenge, Alex, what I see more often than not is one person is a Scrooge.
Poppycock. Balderdash. There.
And the other person is, spendthrift. They having a blast. And I think that's where the challenge is when a married couple start to argue about money, whether they're young or now they're in retirement. And now that, Alex, we're facing real crunch called inflation, money goes much faster and you have to keep an eye on the budget. So mom and dad had a budget on the board, which I tell my clients and people meeting us for the first time, let's have a budget. Let's get together 3 to 6 months before you retire and see if you can stay within your budget. Let's start spending that money now. Alex, this is a hard process, but a powerful process if people are out there. So if they're doing this, I don't know if this answers your question. I hope it answers some of you out listening. But if you're fixing to go into retirement, put a budget together and just watch. And you're allowed to make mistakes. Why? Because you're going to. But when you make the mistakes, you're going to learn where they are. And I can tell you, it'll catch you when you're making those mistakes. You'll be able to kind of figure out what you need to work on. So breaking that habit.
Well, and Scott, one of those mistakes is just being complacent. Not making adjustments to your portfolio, not paying attention to fees that you're paying, keeping money with financial institutions just because it takes you time to explore other options. So how can working with you really avoid being too complacent with your retirement savings?
I think whether it's with me or with their current financial advisor or with anybody they're working with, if they're not asking to see what's going on and maybe you're not humble enough, if you're out there listening, maybe you're not humble enough to ask for help. Maybe it's time to get a little bit humble and say, you know what, maybe I need some help. Because procrastination is like a friend of mine says, what does procrastination mean? Well, I'll tell you tomorrow. They put it off until later. I think the challenge is, again, looking at your numbers, not putting it off, and then getting help for someone who's, this is all I do for a living is work with people and guide them, not tell them, not dictate what to do, but guide them into making some smart decisions with their money so they don't run out of money before they run out of life. And that's the challenge I find.
And Scott, people want to reach out for more information. How could they do that?
Man, I'd love to be able to speak to you off the air. You were able to give us a call at our studios, 609-488-4646. Let me help you out before you give our studios a call. You might want to write down some questions before you call. That way you're really prepped with maybe I really need help in this area. Now, again, you want to give our studios a call at 609-488-4646. Bonnie at my office will make a time for us to speak if I'm in meetings. But I can tell you, I appreciate those of you that maybe just need a little help in that area. By the way, Alex, a sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
I had a lovely couple come in. They do taxes with us. They did their will, power of attorney, living will. They did their trust with us. But the gentleman, 81 years old, wife, 86 years old, came in today. Now, they've been doing taxes and their estate plan with us for now going on 7 years. He's 81. We sat down just today, as we were speaking to each other, and I was amazed they came back in. So I said, guys, how can I help you? What can I help you with? And he goes, my husband, the wife, the beautiful lady, she said, Scott, my husband needs help. I said, well, y'all still like each other? And they said, yeah. Well, they started cracking up. I said, well, I'm so happy. I said, what kind of help you need? He goes, well, I think my husband's maybe forgetting things. And I'd like to know how to get all of my required minimum distribution tax-free because my girlfriend just put a kitchen in and she pays no taxes. What I'm getting at for those of you listening right now is a misunderstanding from listening to others. In other words, they don't know her income. Maybe she's in a zero tax bracket and she took money out of her IRAs and it didn't really bother her tax bracket. In this client's case, they have over $2 million and the market has been really evaporating their accounts and they have to pull out $55,000 in RMD money this year. And they want me to help them, of course, give them the Holy Grail, no taxes. Well, that dog don't hunt. So I had to walk through the process of A, what they're hearing from other people. B, maybe your husband needs to change the way he invests. And he looked at me and he said, Scott, I think I need help. His wife looked at him almost with who is this guy? He never asked for help. He knew he was at the point he needed help. And I said, well, who do you need help from? Would you like it from me? Are you looking for another advisor? Scott, we've been with you for so many years. You've never tried to sell us anything. Frankly, you never even asked us to do business with you until we felt comfortable. And that's why we liked coming here, because you didn't twist our arm. Well, we finally discovered today that not only was his investments risky, but he was investing, Alex, in a CDs at 2% when he could get right now in different vehicles guaranteed 4.5% right now. Right. If you're listening to right now, I'm telling you, as of this show, I guess this show, Alex, I don't know the date of this show, but as of this show, and you might want to give our studios a call at 609-488-4646 to find the latest rates, because the rates have been getting better. But they said, you mean I can get that kind of money guaranteed? I said, yes. I'm not even there's no fees, no cost. And I can take the money out. And if I pass away, it's all completely liquid. It's not tied up like these other types of vehicles. They were tickled pink. His wife looked at me. She says, Scott, this money isn't for us. It's for my children and grandchildren. What am I going to say to her? When you get your RMD, why don't you enjoy the children and give them some money, and maybe they'll really appreciate, especially in this inflationary time. And of course, crazy market. And again, habits. They have the money, but their best friend probably didn't have the money. Their best friend was not paying taxes, but maybe, and I know they're paying tremendous taxes. So we're able to work the tax structure out and educate her. And finally, They came to the point where the husband said, Scott, we need help. So if you're out there and you're thinking, you know what, perhaps I need help. Perhaps you want a second opinion. Probably all smart people get second opinions. Frankly, when my mom and dad got cancer, we didn't get a second opinion. We got a third and fourth opinion before I said, I think enough is enough. We need to take action. I don't know if you're out there thinking about that, but I can tell you, this is not a time to procrastinate. It's like our nation. What do you call a country that pushes off everything until the last minute? I call that procrastination. You're putting things off. Don't do that to your finance. Alex, I don't know if that's real clear to people, but I hope as you speak to many audiences, Alex, you speak to people around the United States, and I appreciate your time with your media company that you're helping me guide these people to make sound decisions with their money. But it comes to number one, realizing you need help, as we spoke about. Number two, coming to the conclusion, who's best to help me? And number three, don't just run to the first guy and gal you meet. Make sure there's a track record. They look at the taxes, the estate planning, and the investment, because this is holistic investing, not simplistic investing, to have so you can sleep well at night, knowing that your money's in a very good place.
Well, and Scott, you don't want to wait too long either. There's so much involved here. You're talking about fees. You're talking about tax efficient strategies. There's certain windows of time that are so important when you're talking about retirement.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's just so many details here. And that's why it is just so important for people not to procrastinate, to not get complacent. Some real keywords here today. But again, your message to the folks out there, if people are sitting there and they haven't acted, again, reiterate why you can be somebody, whether it's a first option, maybe a second opinion, but can just help explain the different nuances that need to be addressed.
Alex, you couldn't have said that better. For those listening right now, I'd like to offer you a unique opportunity to say, you know what? I think I'd like to get a second opinion. I'd like to pop in and get some ideas. If you're out there, you know what? Best way, maybe make a phone call. This way you don't feel like you're getting twisted or sold or coerced into buying something. When I do workshops, and if you haven't been to my workshops, we usually do workshops on a monthly basis. We do 2 or 3 workshops a month, if not 4 workshops. Since COVID was around, we were doing almost 1 workshop a week, and we were educating people. Not one meeting did we ever ask to buy a product, to do a service. Let's just have a conversation. And if people have been to our website, Alex, which is 609-488-4646.com. Go there right now. I encourage, if you're listening right now, 609-488-4646.com. Take a look at our website. And the reason why I tell you that is because you're going to be able to see what we're about if you go about us. And you'll see a wonderful, we made this during COVID to help people understand, hey, we want to help. And Alex, this is my 41st year. We don't beg or bug anybody. As I call my staff, we pleasantly persist if you want our help. If not, we're still here. So if you decide you want a second opinion, or like the family today, they just want to revisit, well, why don't you just come in? But if you're on the website right now, 609-488-4646, I encourage you to click that button where it says contact us, and you'll see where a button says our team. Contact us, click on our team, and you'll see a video of a couple of our clients, and I think that'll help you.
Scott McLean, McLean Tax Advisory Group. More financial insanity on the other side.
Hey, this is Scott McLean. I want to wish you guys a tremendous, wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the lovely greetings we have for you. Proud to be in your life as we try to give you the financial information so you don't go insane. Happy holidays.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I'm on the fence about a real tree. I've done the real tree. When you have that fake one that's in 3 different pieces, you just bust it out every year and you take a second and it's already got the lights attached to plug it in and boom.
You like the smell. I do like the smell of those Christmas trees.
Yeah, but you can get that smell, in different ways. But anyways.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Today on Financial Insanity, we're going to dive into a unique and powerful estate planning tool. It's called a QTIP trust. I'm Alex Dingman, host of Financial Insanity, alongside, as always, Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. And QTIP, you might be out there thinking, isn't that something for cleaning my ears? What are we talking about? No, it's actually a way to clean up your estate plan, Scott. So if you would, let's get into this a little bit. Talk about this couple from one of your seminars, Robert No Funds and Martha Money. Talk about them a little bit for us, Scott.
I think this is a great subject you brought up because I know that you know several men and women. They have either divorced or their spouse died and they remarried. And this is a tool where I see so many people putting off their estate plan because they just don't know how to handle it. So I wanted to share with you, and I obviously had changed the names to protect the innocent. Robert No Funds. Robert got into a relationship with this beautiful woman, Martha. They fell in love with each other and they got married. Robert has his kids. Martha's got her kids. And the whole idea is Robert's a widower of 3 children and Martha has 2 children of her own. And Robert moved into Martha's house. Remember, it's Martha's house, and they've been together now 12 years, love each other, been together, and it's like a great relationship. And when I met these people, they didn't take care of their estate plan. I hope you're planning your estate plan. I hope you don't put this off, and hope this will jingle your brain to give our studios a call, say, Scotty, I need help. And I think this is really important. So I think everything that seemed fine until they came to one of my estate planning classes where we touched on the QTIP. And the QTIP is kind of unique, Alex, and this is what set them off saying, we better do something. It's always something that changes our mind, Alex.
Yeah.
You better do something.
Right. Well, because the idea here is, and you have to think this way when you're planning is, well, what happens if Martha, if she happens to pass away, what happens with her house? Would this be Robert's kids then knocking on the door, staking their claim? That's the kind of situation that this trust can help address, right?
Exactly. And the kind of scenario the QTIP can really be a tremendous burden off of Martha Money and Robert No Funds because they don't want to say who gets what.
Right.
Do you get my house? Who gets my house? Who doesn't get my house? Then you got the kids fighting mom got remarried. I know why this guy's in the house. He wants the money, or vice versa. Maybe
sure.
Robert has money and Martha doesn't have money. And this is where the relationship, the crows and the clowns show up at the funeral, and a QTIP trust, QTIP, good trust, really allows them to do just that. Protect the assets for the children, but allows the sweetie to stay at the house if he or she chooses to.
Yeah, and I think, Scott, it would be wise for us, this acronym, let's break that down a little bit, and for the listeners, just explain how this is used during the estate planning process.
That's smart. I guess I jump ahead.
That's
a QTIP is called a qualified. It's qualifying, a terminable, your assets, the interest in the property, a qualified terminal interest property. So it's specializing whatever's put into this trust. This is for my children. But in this case here, Martha Money wants her husband to be able to stay in the house. And so in this case, when we look at the assets of Robert No Funds, he doesn't have a lot. So if she died, the family's instantly going to, kick him out? Give me my money. Let's go sell the house and the kids in Martha's side. But then their question on the other side is, could Robert's family start to say, well, Dad's been with her 15, 20 years. He deserves something. Well, this is it's almost like a prenuptial agreement. And so this is a kind of nice way to take care of it kindly, easily, and it protects. And then again, if you want to protect it again for one more stage, which we won't go into right now, Alex, this would be the area of a irrevocable trust within the QTIP planning, making the nursing home can't even get it from Martha's children. This could be a tremendous benefit. Those of you listening who have been remarried, you haven't updated your stuff, this is where you give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. This is where you don't put things off. This is where you don't procrastinate. Procrastination is like sticking your head in the sand and all your vitals are exposed. Let's get this off the table. Daddy always said, take care of the problem before it gets worse. I want you to listen. 609-488-4646, Alex. This is so important.
Yeah, and this QTIP trust we're talking about today on financial insanity, ideal for situations like here with Robert and Martha, where each spouse, they have kids from a previous marriage. And so with this QTIP in place, Martha could ensure Robert is taken care of if she passes away first, but at the same time, her kids know that they're going to be inheriting the house eventually. So it's taking care of all parties involved. Is that right?
It is, and I learned this actually when I was really young, and I saw my best friend's father get remarried. His wife died. We grew up since I was 6 years old. We're still friends today. I'm 66 years old, and I'll never forget him. Mr. Futch got remarried, and they had a QTIP trust. And the rules of his plan was, in the event you decide to leave, or go ahead. If you decide to get remarried, you can leave. The house isn't for both of you. If you decide to get sick and disabled and have to go somewhere, fine. Or you can stay in the house until God takes you home. But meanwhile, there's a set game plan in place where there's no kids on either side of the fence are going to be squabbling, because this plan, this QTIP, is really clear, concise, and accurate. And the nursing homes can't throw you out. There's no assets on the estate. And if you want to burn down the estate, can you? No. This is a great plan for some of you out there thinking about it. And maybe you got a friend out there as you're enjoying the holidays, or maybe you're enjoying a birthday, or maybe you're enjoying whatever you're going through. Share this with your people, with your friends, because people aren't aware of this. And this is a great estate plan to protect your money, to protect your assets for your kids. If you want to pass them on, That's okay.
Right.
Great way to protect money.
Well, and I think we got to make an important distinction here with the QTIP about when it is something that can be used. So let's talk about a little bit of a plot twist here. What if I'm listening and I'm not married, but I have a partner? I want my partner to stay in my home after I pass, but then have the property go to my children. Is a QTIP still something I could use?
Okay, now you threw a right hook at me, Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, that's your job, buddy.
I think that's a great comment. So you're not married.
Right.
Well, this would be called, in many people's minds, it's called the life estate. And for those fancy lawyers or those people want to be logistics about it, we call it a qualified personal residence trust, a QPRT, or a life estate to make it simpler. I like simple. But again, this is another tool that you could be using. And of course, you use it. It could be part of a revocable living trust, giving your partner the right to stay there for a period of time. And then if they no longer want to be in the home, they want to leave, they can go. Then the children of the assets of the inheritance could sell the property. This is a great place. So again, it's called the Qualified Personal Residence Trust, or for the easy way to remember it, a life estate. When people come in, we find out if you're married, how long, and how's the marriage going on, and how is your health going on. We ask lots of questions before you can even bring up trust, where sometimes you'll meet with a lawyer. He or she's going to charge you $200-$300 to ask a lot of questions. We think that's, well, because this is all we do is the estate planning and financial planning and tax planning. When you look at everything, Alex, it makes sense that I call it the three blind mice, the lawyer, the tax guy, and the financial guy. They need to talk to each other, but it isn't done these days at all. My field is definitely falling apart and getting more lazy. How much assets can I get, but can I really help somebody? So this could be good. Again, not a QTIP, Alex, for those who are married. If you're married, it's a QTIP.
Right.
For those who are not married, girlfriend, boyfriend, living together, it's called a Qualified Personal Residence Trust or a life estate.
So what if you don't use either option. No QTIP, no life estate. What could happen to my surviving partner or spouse if I shall pass?
All right, now you're breaking out the onions. It's getting kind of dicey, Alex. Calm down.
Hey, we're trying to pull up people's emotions here on the show, you know.
Let's say you don't have a Q-tip, or you set up maybe a formal arrangement like your beneficiaries, like your kids.
Mm-hmm.
They could have all the legal rights to their inheritance and say, okay, in this case, Robert, you got to go. Oh, my gosh. Now you got a whole different bunch of scenarios. Court, throw him out. What if he's disabled? They keep him there. Now the kids are going to be paying the taxes. They got to keep the house up. And then they have another set of kids coming in, which would be Robert's children. Again, so that really could put the surviving spouse, or the partner in this case here, in a really tough position, because they love that woman or that man. They love their partner. And so the question is, do the kids care? Well, maybe they do. I don't want to be cold. But frankly, it's their inheritance, and their inheritance is being stalled. What would you do out there? If you're listening to me right now, what would your kids do? What actions would they take place? Now, if you're married, you want to make sure you have the house protected from the nursing home, the irrevocable trust, possibly. But if you're married and it's a second marriage or third marriage, or maybe you are living in someone's house and you need to do financial planning and you don't have enough cash, and if your spouse were to pass away, do you have enough income? This is where the discussion is. If you're living together with somebody, when people come in with me with this, Alex, I almost treat it like two different appointments in the same appointment, because he or she has their own money. I got to drill them down to find out, okay, what's going to happen if? This is where the bacteria starts to formulate, and I got to make sure we got some antibacterial medicine. Can we really fix this thing? How do we make it really easy for both parties? And this is a lost trait in my world. I can tell you, I've seen this so many problems. That's why people put things off, Alex.
Totally true. And when it comes to estate planning, that's one of the aspects of retirement planning that's put off most often, just because, it's no fun to talk about. But Scott, if you would here, for people that are comfortable talking about, if they have questions, what should people do?
First of all, I would encourage you to give our studios a call and see if there's a time you'd like to pop in and meet with us if you'd like to. No cost, no obligation. Let's just get to know each other. Or it could be a simple 15-minute phone call. In this phone call, you're giving me the right to ask a lot of personal questions, because I want to find out, what is the right tool to use? Do you need a tool? How's the relationship? 609-488-4646 is your tool. 609-488-4646 is your tool to get to the toolbox, which is my tools. My set of tools, or I should say the government's set of tools that can really set you at ease. So when you put your head on your pillow, your partner, your spouse puts their head on the pillow, you look at each other saying, everything is okay. We took care of everything. And you move on with your life.
I love it. Next, we're going to be talking about the tax benefits to using a Q-tip. This is Financial Insanity.
This is Alex Dingman of Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, wishing you a happy holidays. I hope you have good health and get everything on your wish list. Thanks for listening.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
By the way, I'm an old dog. I'm almost 65, but I will accept presents.
Scott, are you just going to plug your birthday every show until the first of the year? Is that what's going to happen?
I'm going to plug it till I get a present.
We are discussing a unique and powerful estate planning tool today on the show. It's called a QTIP Trust. All right, Scott, let's talk about money. Are there tax benefits to using a QTIP?
There really is. There's some tremendous tools out there. But I want to, for those who just tuned in, this is how I came about this show, because you and I were, Alex, talking about this several times and say, what's unique about your estate planning and why do you do the crazy things you do? Well, this is one rule. Robert No Funds, by the way, that's not his real name, but you can have fun with me. Robert
Sure.
No Funds. He hadn't had much money. He falls in love with Martha Money after his wife died. And Martha Money is obviously, she has 2 children, and Robert No Funds has 3 children. The question is, where does the money go? And they've been married now for 12 years. That's the backdrop of this whole scenario, Alex, that you asked me to talk about one of our clients. This was really intimate because it was a great study. We have several clients like this. And if those of you are out there that are married, it's a second marriage, and you are wondering, or maybe a third marriage, you're wondering, how do my assets get passed on to my kids? How do I keep my assets to my kids, but I want to take care of my sweetie? This could be a great tool for those who are married, called the QTIP Trust. And so again, QTIP means a qualified personal residence trust. That would be for a non-married person, so your boyfriend, girlfriend. But the QTIP obviously is a qualified terminus interest protection or trust. So we really want to focus on these tools. And so again, tax ramifications. When the first spouse of assets, let's say that has a QTIP, and for marital deductions, of course, you can take that, but it means they're really not an estate tax planning position. Instead, they're deferred to the second spouse. So this could be a good or bad tool, depending on your situation. So let me say it again. Again, the first spouse passes away. The assets in the QTIP, the house, let's say, is qualified for the marital deduction. And again, great opportunity. This means, again, that it's not a hit on the estate taxes at that point. Instead, they're deferred until the second one passes. Now, Alex, I think you're going to be asking me some crazy question about lifetime. Go ahead. I'm sure that's the next question.
Well, and because what we're getting at here is we're trying to maximize the estate tax exemptions over both spouses' lifetimes, right? So this could result to significant savings, and you have to understand how to go about this process, right?
You really do. And if you have a tax guy or tax gal or tax team, or maybe your financial guy works with you're along with your lawyer, this is important to bring up. If you're not a financial client of ours, that's fine. But I would really jump on this, because here's the beauty of the QTIP. You also have the ability to set up a step up in basis. Now, a step up in basis, let's say you bought a $100,000 house. It's worth $300,000. The taxable gain is $200,000. Well, the step up in basis makes it now $300,000, so no tax. So when the surviving spouse passes, the property's value is reset at the market value. So from 100 went to 300. Now that's the real value, 300,000, which could really minimize the capital gains tax if the beneficiaries later on sells the house, the kids come in. So this could be a great tool for those of you thinking about, how do I pass my assets on? How can I reduce taxes for my kids if I can? I surely rather give my kids money than the IRS and my ugly Uncle Sam. So let's keep Uncle Sam out of the picture.
Well, and really what we're doing here, Scott, and this is your idea with every aspect of financial planning, is how can we do this, as smartly as possible? And this is really a way to make a well-oiled machine, so to speak, for estate planning. But why does not every financial advisor get into great detail about this with the Q-tips and explaining this process? How come it's not talked about more?
I leave it with this easy statement. When you graduate high school, for those of you who never went to college, or for those who went to college and you graduated or got through college, to say, have you read a book since then? Have people read? And they get stagnant. They get stuck in their ways. But in the estate planning, which makes me so excited now in the business, as of today of our recording, it's almost going on 44 years, March 8th. I just love the new laws. I don't love laws, but I love having to follow them. Let's put it that way. I should say sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. But again, a QTIP planning, this helps my estate planning, my financial planning, my investment planning, and my whole team say, let's stay on top of this. And a QTIP trust, again, with blended families, how do we keep the families together? How do we put a holistic approach to your need? And I think that art is kind of lost. This not means I'm the only guy doing it or gal doing it. By the way, I'm a guy. But the question is, as a financial advisor, I believe the financial advisor that you're working with should at least be prodding you and bringing you up to date on all the latest tools that are out there. Because if they're not, it's almost like driving down the road in a beautiful car, but one of the tires flat. But you don't care. You just punch the gas and you're going to burn more rubber, obviously. You're going to spend more gas. You're going to ruin the car. And when you finally fix the tire, it could be too late. This is where you don't want to put things aside. And so, frankly, I don't know why, Alex, financial advisors aren't looking at all these details, because there's a lot of details when you're heading into retirement. Now you're in retirement. Now your beautiful spouse passes away, or your significant other or partner passes away. What kind of trust? So that would be a QTIP trust planning for those who are married. And then if you're not married, I think, Alex, you brought it up in our last segment, the life estate relationship. So how can I give my partner that I don't want them getting the house, but they get to stay in the house? How can I give him or her the right to stay in my house? Okay, this would be a great tool called the life estate or the qualified personal residence trust versus a QTIP. So our office is loving to helping you with the right decisions at 609-488-4646. I say it slowly, not to beg and bug you for your business. My firm is solid. This is all we do. And what the excitement thing is, if I can help you make a smart decision with your finances and you start telling people about our firm, we win. Whether you decide to work with us or not. Because why? We're giving you information that you may not be aware of, but maybe it's prodding your mind right now to pick up the most famous tool you could ever use, the telephone. 609-488-4646. That's your tool. What are my tools? I got a whole box full of estate planning tools that could really guide you into making smart decisions for you, your sweetie, your loved ones, your kids, to make the assets where the crows and the clowns show up at the funeral trying to get a piece of the action. And frankly, that was not your intention. I look forward to speaking to anyone out there to help guide you through this jungle of challenges you can avoid.
Absolutely, Scott. And it's all about creating these custom comprehensive plans. And it's all part about your 3D approach. When we're talking about estate planning, it's all about the dreams, the dollars, the dynasty. And for folks like Robert No Funds and Martha Money, you have to ask yourself, do I really want to leave this up to chance? And having something like a QTIP or an estate plan, just make sure that your plans are followed through. Because, Scott, you've seen it. Families are weird. And especially when you talk about, a family where it's, okay, maybe this family was previous, from a previous spouse and the same situation with your current spouse having kids already. Right. And then it gets you can get even weirder there, where not everybody's even blood related now. And what does that mean for people with their loyalties or decision makings? And so, really, Scott, it's just about protecting people and what their wishes are, what their dreams are, and just making sure you have these things in place so that all that can come to fruition.
That is so important, Alex. And we're going to do another segment, Alex, as you just mentioned that I have, let's say you've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend in your life, a partner in your life. You didn't get married. You've been together for 10, 15, 20 years, and they want to leave you an inheritance. We're going to do a segment on this, Alex, on how could the leaving the inheritance could make it non-taxable. How about that? Non-taxable inheritance, but you're never married. What is that tool? Well, for the state of New Jersey, there's a wonderful tool for those of you who want to know more about that. That is another workshop we're going to do right here at WBNJ, who's allowed me to work with them for so many years. I think it's going on 13, 14 years now. And at WBNJ, they've been so good to us. We're able to put educational workshops just like this on, and with Alex's help for so many years and their tremendous team there, we're able to put these workshops on to help who? You, to see the tools that you have available at our toolbox, at our workshop. I thank you for joining us. And Alex, you have any other questions? Because I really want people not to put this off. Procrastination is the demon.
Yeah.
The demons want you to put this off. 609-488-4646. That's the demon tamer. That's will help you. 609-488-4646. Let me tell you my bag of goodies that we can help you with.
Absolutely. And again, just real high level today, our discussion was on QTIP trusts and also what would be the situation with the life estate if you had a partner not married. So these two things just being put in place so that the assets, if you were to pass, are distributed like you would want. And again, this is all part of that comprehensive approach that Scott and his team at McLean Advisory Group takes. And Scott, you would love it if they had questions, maybe they've met with somebody and they're looking for a second opinion. They're sitting there thinking, you know what, I've never heard of this, or I've never really discussed this, or maybe there's a detail in my life I'm not sure my advisor knows about or has addressed, and man, this could really impact, the finances in the future.
Everything.
What would you say to these folks, Scott?
I would say, out of love and concern, whether you want to give our studios a call at 609-488-4646, call your financial advisor and have your financial advisor work with your attorney. I think this is where the three blind mice comes in, how today's financial planning process leads your money to a mousetrap. The book I wrote several years ago is so in tune from when I first started in 1983 to current. It's a very current book, but I bring in all those years of knowledge and continual knowledge, because I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I can tell you I keep studying, learning, going to conferences, education, and along with Alex helping me get this message out there, I would just love it to help you make the right decisions with your money, because there's nothing worse going to a funeral and you see two sides of the fence. You got one side of the fence who knows their dad or mom's about to be kicked out, and the other side of the fence smiling because they're about to get some money. What kind of poop show is that? Guys, gals, don't put this out. This is your loved one. If this is what you want, the best thing you want is to pick up the most famous tool you could ever pick up and dial 609-488-4646. Let me guide you, help you a little bit. And if we need to get together, we can do that. No cost, no obligation. But this is a way to put your head on your pillow and relax, and knowing that everything's in good place.
Love it. And remember, too, that number is also the website, 609-488-4646.com. I'm Alex Dingman. That is Scott McLean, founder of McLean Advisory Group, right here in Waretown, and we'll be right back after this. Thank you so much for listening to Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok. Come on.
That's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
Scott gets questions each and every week from you fine people about all things retirement. So we're going to open up our financial insanity mailbag and go over some of these common retirement questions. And remember, if you have a question, the number is always 609-488-4646. That is 609-488-4646. And Scott, our first question comes from Jim in Lanoka Harbor, New Jersey.
All right, Jim.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Right down the street here. It says, I've been retired for about 2 years. I'm honestly ready for something different. I'm thinking about part-time work to help give my retirement counts a break, but would that cause any issues with my Social Security? Very wise for Jim to be thinking about this. What do you think?
Man, that's a great question, Jim. Thanks. Probably give your wife a break by going back to work, too, if you're married.
Yeah.
But anything, I think what's exciting is, congratulations. Retirement handle us so much. Maybe go golfing and enjoy life. You go back to work. You want to think about a couple things. Number one, the full retirement age. You're in the clear, as much earn as much as you want if it's full retirement age. Again, the full retirement age. Mine is 66 and 10 months. And full retirement age, make as much as you want. But there's another challenge if you are not in full retirement age, which I don't know you are or not. For those of you who want to go back to work, there's a couple rules out there, which is why you want to give our studios a call. If you're about to retire, 609-488-4646. These could be problems. Again, the earnings limit is $21,240. And if you earn more than that amount, of course, Social Security will deduct $1 from your benefits for every $2 you earn. So let me break it down for you. Imagine you got a bucket of water, and the bucket represents Social Security benefits. Now, imagine every dollar you earn over the earnings limit is like a hole in that bucket. So for every $2 you pour in the bucket, your earnings, $1 leaks out. So Security deducts from your benefits. So again, keep that in mind. And I'm so glad you asked that, Jimmy. I can tell you, enjoy your retirement, give your wife a break, or your sweetie pie or whoever. But you understand, enjoy life, make some money, take care of inflation, but understand by making a decision for you do-it-yourselfers could cause you a problem. And you're not going to know that until you do your tax returns.
Another question here, about halfway through. This one is from Tom in West Creek, New Jersey. All right, Tom says, can you have too much life insurance? I feel like my mom could be overdoing it with the number of little policies she has. What do you think, Scott?
Tommy, I appreciate that. If I'm beneficiary, please keep all the life insurance you can.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, you know what? I'd like to look at that because one area is beautiful life insurance. If you can afford it, could be tax-free. Well, what I've also noticed is you could have a lot of life insurance, a bunch of different policies, but maybe it doesn't add up too much. Maybe the cash value is the same as the face value. The question is it worth changing? Then we have what's called, can you exchange it for another vehicle, or can you make it better depending on your health? I do like life insurance. I think it's a great tool for those people who have a tremendous amount of wealth. It could be a great tool if the laws change, called the pour over rules. Great question. I appreciate that, Tommy, but the whole idea is, how much do you need? I call it the dime. Debts, how much income do you have to replace? I. M, do you have any mortgage to pay off? And E, earnings. Do I need or education, I should say, for the grandkids? That's a great question. It's a hard question to answer on the phone, but I have seen this so often. Give us a call at our studios. We can talk about it off the air, but that's a great question. People do have life insurance. I do myself have life insurance. It's a great tool for many people. For others, they may not need it.
Yes, thank you for that, Tom. And for everybody out there, if you have questions, the number 609-488-4646. Our final question comes from William in Southampton. All right.
Oh, great.
William.
Like my backyard.
Yeah, exactly. William says, I'm really struggling to get organized with my finances. We have money saved, but I just keep letting all this paperwork pile up. Could you help me sort through everything I have, or I need to put it together first before I come to talk to you?
William, you got a problem. It's called procrastination. So step one, and I hope you don't, but I'm glad you asked, which means you're getting out of the procrastination stage, which most people are in. William, what I really encourage you to do is maybe put your stuff together, your paperwork together, and give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. I promise you I'm not going to try to sell you. I'm not going to try to twist your arm. But you need to really get this in place so when you put your head on your pillow, you won't dream about all these papers falling out of the sky and you dropping them. Because dropping the ball is what I find in the legal work, the will, power of attorney, living will. Should you have a trust? Who does the money go to? These will keep you up at night. And if they don't, well, maybe your sleep isn't as good as it could be. Then, of course, by looking and organizing your finances, I'm so glad you brought that up because many people listening right now think they're organized when they go into retirement, or maybe when they're in retirement, they think they're organized, but could be scattered all over the place. For example, you could have the spouse handling the finances and you're out there not handling finances. And all of a sudden your spouse passes away. And now what happens? Well, now you're left up to chance. Why don't you take a chance and give our studios a call? Let's talk about it because you don't want to procrastinate. This is the number one demon out there. And by putting the angel on your shoulder, look at the angel to the right, say, yes, I'm going to take action because I want to get peace of mind. So I encourage you. I'm glad you brought that up. You had enough guts to give us a call. But again, let's take action. 609-488-4646 for anyone out there who has these questions, because I can tell you they're real. I see them every single day. I talk to people. This is all I do. I love what I do. And people say, well, Scott, you're old. Yeah, you're right. I got 43 years in this business, and I plan on keeping going. I love this industry. I love what I do, and I love you for listening. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Alex, any more questions?
No, that's going to do it for the questions today. Tremendous. And Scott, I know that you really appreciate the folks that do send those questions in. Again, the number is 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And I just want to leave people here with a little thought, as you know, there's different ways to go about your retirement, and there's different ways to figure out, all right, income that I'm going to need when I retire. And I really like this one here. I read this, Scott, a 50-year-old side hustle bringing in up to $8,400 a month takes 6 hours a week. So a 50-year-old here, Elizabeth Morisani, has converted 11 acres of her land, split between 3 properties around Asheville, North Carolina, into private dog parks.
Beautiful.
So this person has just, hey, I got this land. What should I do with it? Convert it into private dog park. People are paying her now. And now this woman is making $8,400 a month, 6 hours a week of work only. Wow. And I just thought that was interesting. Just another way to create income for yourself. I know a lot of times it can be property as far as building, but here's property as far as land, and then converting it into something that could be used by others. So just thought that was really smart.
Creative mind is amazing. We all have it. It's just getting out of your way. And as I tell my kids, keep reading, learning things like you're saying. Yep. You know, one thing we didn't bring up, Alex, and I hope you're out there listening. I've seen and speak to so many people, not only about their finances, because that's what I do, but it's just for those listening for the first time, we look at your legal documents, your will, power of attorney, living will, health care. Maybe you need a trust. And with the laws change, you may need a pour-over provisions. These are critical tools that do handle your finances. So if your financial advisor is not looking at this, they're looking at a piece of your portfolio, not the whole portfolio. And the other piece is the taxation. How will the taxation be if laws change? Are they getting ready? Are they giving you heads up? And this is called proactive planning versus reactive planning. Are you getting that proactive planning? Are you getting that heads up or what if scenarios? This is why we've been doing these radio shows with Alex so many years. As you know, I've been WBNJ, which is why I chose to go on the radio station, which is an education radio station. Yep. I want you to be aware of what you should do and take advantage of, whether you work with our firm or not. So when you put your head on your pillow, you can go to sleep and say, you know what? At least my finances, my estate, my dreams, my dollars, and my dynasty is buttoned up. We appreciate McLean Advisory Group right here in Waretown, New Jersey. For now, since 1983, been doing this business. So I trust you. Give us a call, and if I can help you. If I can't, I'll tell you. Promise you that.
Absolutely. No, and that number for a final time, 609-488-4646. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, this is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group.
Hey, this is Scott McLean. I want to wish you guys a tremendous, wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the lovely greetings we have for you. Proud to be in your life as we try to give you the financial information so you don't go insane. Happy holidays.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.